guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about my favorite first lines, and this is a video that I saw on Roxanne's channel. She talked about all of her favorite lines. I think she's done more than one video, and I instantly fell in love with the idea. There was just one problem, which is I don't remember any of the first lines of any books that I've read, even if I've read them more than once. So I kid you not, I went through almost every book on my shelves and I read the first line, and then I came up with a nice stack that I have sitting here in front of me. I'm gonna start with the book that I think everyone's gonna expect from me, so I'll just get it out of the way, and that's The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've read this book like 3 or 4 times now, and there's just a love that I feel for this book. Anyway, the first line is, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit." And yes, there's just something about this book. I had to include it in this list. The second book that I have here is The Martian by Andy Weir, and this is, I think, gonna be a classic first line, and it's "I'm pretty much fucked." And I just love it. It gets straight to the point, and it really describes everything about this book and the tone of this book. I think that's just the perfect first line for that book. The next one I have here is Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is a horror novel that I read last year and absolutely loved. And the first line reads, "Nurse Thornton dropped into the long-term care ward a little before 8 with a hot bag of blood for Charlie Manx." That's that. I really love that book. The next one I have here is Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward, and I love the first line of this one as well. "I like to think I know what death is." The next one I have here is 1984 by George Orwell. "It was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. This one is one that I really want to read sometime soon. I've only read it once, and I remember that I had such an emotional reaction to it in the best way that I really want to get to that one again. That's another thing about going back to my shelves and finding all of these books. It kind of makes me want to read them again. The next one I have here is The Glass Castle by Jeannette Walls. This is a memoir, and the first line says, "I was sitting in a taxi wondering if I had overdressed for the evening when I looked out the window and saw Mom rooting through a dumpster." Great memoir. It's one of my favorites. The next one I have here is a YA novel that I read years and years ago, and I absolutely loved it. And that's Jellicoe Road by Melissa Marchetta. And the first line for this one is great. I really love the first line of this book. "My father took 132 minutes to die." I love this book. I really need to reread that one because it's been, I want to say, more than 5 years since I've read it. The next one I have here is Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. His last name is just always a mouthful. And this is another great book. It's a multi-generational story that I absolutely loved. And the first line of this one reads, "I was born twice. First as a baby girl on a remarkably smogless Detroit day in January of 1960, and then again as a teenage boy in an emergency room near Petoskey, Michigan in August of 1974. Great first line, and just great book in general. I was really surprised that I enjoyed that book as much as I did. And then the next one is the classic 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And the first line of this one reads, "Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Aureliano Buendia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice." This is just one of my favorite books of all time, so I had to include it. And also, that's just a great first line. So those are all of the books that I grabbed from my shelves where the first lines really spoke to me. I hope to do this challenge again, preferably when I pick up some other good books. I think that the first line of a book says a lot about the book. And some of these, like The Martian, I feel like just set the tone for the rest of the story. And so yeah, I thought that this was a cool challenge to do. Let me know down in the comments if you've done a similar challenge like this on your channel. I would love to watch it because I'm kind of obsessed with watching these videos now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.